It is a great honor this year to have Lissoni Partners presenting to the students. Their design philosophy and wonderful stories surrounding their success is certain to motivate you for bigger dreams. Beyond so many well-known locations, the architecture, the interiors, the firm is expert in product design, branding, and graphic design, and it's all original. Piero Lissoni himself will come to us with a few words from Italy, and Stefano Giussani, CEO for Lissoni New York, from his office in Soho. We'll now play a video, and it is my true pleasure to introduce you to both Piero via video and Stefano Giussani.
Hi, I'm Piero Lissoni. From now I'm based in Milano, but normally I'm in between Milano and New York. I'm a designer, I'm architect and graphic designer. And I like to say hello to the colleagues, dear colleagues, welcome in the club. I like to talk with you, I like to discuss with you, and I like to offer a possibility to discuss around and about of passions, curiosity, capacity, intelligences, humanity, and humanism, why not? Well, I'm waiting you and I'm ready for discuss with you and to talk with you and to share experiences, words, and possibilities.
Hi everyone, welcome to Lissoni New York. I'm Stefano Giussani, the CEO of Lissoni in Soho, here, the branch of the US branch of Lissoni Partners, which is based in Milan. And welcome to the club. Welcome to the club of creativity. You know, I think you pick a great profession, you know, for your life, as much as I'm proud of mine, you know, because it's a profession with infinity possibilities. Being a creative person and such as a designer, you know, allow you to make really any shade of your life, you know, as much as you like. And before we start, you know, before we get started, you know, into this conversation today, and I love the title, you know, how you can be original. You know, that was really interesting. And I'd love to share, you know, my experience, you know, the Lissoni philosophy as well. And let's talk about it, how maybe we can contribute, you know, to your approach, you know, and future, you know, in order to be really a creative person. Some safety procedure before before we start, you know. One, I talk a lot, so I please Kelly or Lisa, you know, to press the button when it's too much, you know, so they can stop, you know, they know how to do it. Second, I try not to move, but being Italian, you know, Italians love to speak with our hands, you know. I try to be, you know, quiet, you know, today with my hands. At the same time, I think this is already a hint of being original, because being original, as we know, is being yourself, basically. And what I did moving here to New York, bringing the firm into this country, is really to translate, you know, the way we are, you know, and the way we see the design on that side of the ocean into this side of the ocean. So let's start, you know, with some slides that maybe can be interesting to be seen while I'm talking. I hope you can see everything. I'm not a super IT person, but I wanted to share with you some pages, you know, that are really, let's say, a mantra or inputs that we always use at the firm. So, for instance, this is a famous captation from quote by Vitruvius, you know, that the architect should be equipped with knowledge of many branches of study and varied kind of learning, for it's by his judgment that all work done by other arts is put to test. So the point is that what we really see as our profession, being a designer, can be a product designer, can be a graphic designer, or an architect, you know, is to be really multidisciplinary, you know, to have tons of eyes, you know, tons of harms, as you said, because being a designer implies, a lots of attention, lots of ears, to listen what is surrounding us, and the way we can contribute, to the life of people who live this planet. How you can be original. So I was thinking about this topic, and being Italian, the first thing that popped in my mind was, okay, let's prepare a good dish, let's prepare a soup, and let's prepare something to eat. Of course, I love food. I'm a foodie person, and as you see, Donald Duck, is a right example, of being multitasking, especially in those pictures here, because you can see that he can manage many things. I think the designer is kind of the same, because we have to be ready to face any challenge, any environment, any situation. And the one we just passed through, was this craziness of 2020. And we had to be hyper creative, in that year in order to survive, but also to reinvent anything that that surround us. So as I was saying, how to be original. So I would like to see you all, as this beautiful Campbell soup can. But of course, the Campbell soup is one and is repeated 20,000 times. I think that each one of us instead, yes, okay, we are a sort of a can, but we must be the soup so special, so we need to put some ingredient into the soup to make it really one and only. So I think three ingredients are really crucial, to be original, which is one, to be curious, second, to be yourself, and then to be focused. So now I'm going to explain a little bit better, those three topics. So be curious. Be curious because you must be curious everywhere, everything you do, and everything you see around you will contribute, to nourishing and to feed your creativity, your originality, and your way of see things. For instance, those images, can sound like a first sight kind of funny, but you don't have to stop, on what you see at first sight. You have to go deeper into the messages that we get from any input that we receive all over the world and in any environment we feel and we are every single day. So it can be either walking on the street and keep taking pictures of people everywhere, walking on the street, visiting an art gallery, or maybe go to the cinema, go to the grocery stores. Everything can be an input to feed your unicity, so your originality. To be original, means that you have to feed yourself, with tons of inputs and distill them, while you're growing as a designer. So this image, I think, is so funny, but also very deep. So when we design an object, we must be also conscious, of the people who are going to use it. And this is definitely provocative, of course, but this is a masochist kettle, because of course, if you drop it, you're going to burn your hand, so that means that anything we design, must have a conscious aspect beside, the creative aspect of it. So form and function, is always a topic that is always a big debate also within our office, because sometimes we prefer to go more into the form than the function, or vice versa. But for sure, being a designer and being a creative person needs to combine the two aspects into one. Here, for instance, are examples, and today when I was reviewing the presentation, we really wanted to have behind the scenes, as Beth mentioned before, for you to get inspired of, and to consider that anything can be a source of inspiration, and anything can drive your attention, your passion into something specific. For instance, staircases. Staircases is a topic in our firm, because every project is different from the other. We never copy ourselves. So we maybe we reference to ourselves, So we believe in certain design principles for sure, or we have our own references in terms of masters of design or influences from different part of the world, but we never copy ourselves. So what we do, we always look at the objects and we always get inspired for what we see around us, such as a spring, as you see here, and we get inspired for our projects. When we design this staircase is a kind of challenging staircase because it's so simple, as you see, but it's so complex, to make a staircase like that. Because when we design, we definitely prioritize the shape of it, but it was bending and bumping all the time. When you go up and down the staircase, it's very flexible. So this reminds us to the previous slides when I said, to be conscious, when you design objects, to consider many aspects of it, because the shape is definitely something, but it's not only the one that made a product original and doable, I would say. Here we have other examples, for instance, and I'm not showing you this one because are mistakes, but because mistakes also help us to grow, to build our creativity, our being original, because we learn from what we do, even if it's a good or a bad, project. And especially when you start your career, I think you're gonna encounter some challenges, and you're gonna possibly make some mistakes, when you design things that maybe look beautiful, but then it doesn't work. So we do the same, and the firm we are talking about, the firm I represent, grow every day more and more, and adjust every time, any project is a lesson for us to add to the book of knowledge, and skills. Of course, we don't want to repeat the same thing again, but at the same time, we get inspired also from and by our, let's say, mistakes. So for instance, here, this image is funny because we designed this beautiful sculptural architecture for an office building in Italy. And we used the semi-transparent, glazing along the facade here. And so it was beautiful because in the night you can turn on the light and those boxes act like lanterns. So really emotional. But during the day, unfortunately, the light was so strong, because this material was spreading the light everywhere that to work there, you need the sunglasses. So this is something to be considered. This one instead, I really love this object that Piero designed for a client, an Italian client, a furniture producer, because he said, okay, I would like to design an object that is, let's say, one and only, one of a kind. As, for instance, the topic to be original could be, designing something that is unique. So this one is a condominium for birds, I would say. And so while we were designing this one, there was a lots of discussion. We really enjoyed to do this project because this project, it's like bringing like a condominium of birds, and you have the guy in the luckiest one, with a penthouse, up there, all transparent and cool. Then you have the family, with many, many poles, for all the kids. Then you have the guys who share the apartment, and then you have the ground floor with the pool. So this is just to why I'm showing you this one, not because it's a project but just to show you to go beyond your parameters, beyond the borders, to see things always in a different angles and a different perspective. Of course, it was a very let's say unexpected project that we had to do, but at the same time we put really lots of creativity. I know that now maybe you can see myself, and I can show you something after this presentation, but it's always a matter of how you see things. So we live our life fulfilled of tons of icons, tons of references, but if you see the same things, maybe in a different color, different shape, different material, over there is already a source of inspiration and is already a source of being original. Those are other examples, for instance, of what I just said, so the first image is a lamp, that is a suspended lamp we designed for another brand, Italian company. And when it's off, it's beautiful. When it's on, we decided to put a blue light. Of course, it didn't provide lots of light, but it was an unexpected, source of light, because instead of convey the idea of the coziness inside an ambient, we provide a blue atmosphere. So completely an unexpected thing. So that is definitely original, because it's different from what we have as an icon in our mind, being a lamp. Okay, I turn on the lamp, it should provide light. This one, it was a lamp that wasn't providing light, it was providing dark. So this is provocative, of course. And today I put together so many examples of provocative inputs for you to maybe consider or look at, maybe for your career. Here is another example. So another example of how, also an object that we personally don't like very much, the shape that those bulbs, are made of, especially the light, we find it very cold, but they ask us to design a bulb, for this company. And so we come up with those ideas, much, much interesting, at least in terms of shape, and also with a warmer light. Okay, that was our provocative approach, and the bulb stays the same, but this is also because sometimes in your career, you're gonna meet clients, that are asking for something, and you would like to provide them with really an out of the chart, proposal, but at the same time, sometimes you need to, feed them, to train also your clients in order to understand, what you are presenting and what is your vision, in order to convince them that this bulb works as well as the other bulbs, but definitely is much nicer. So here we have a couple of two cases today. I didn't want to take too long, because I would like to discuss with you all, but one is the Cartel Puma, which is the chair that we designed for Cartel. And so everything started, from an idea to design a really, really light chair. So technology nowadays, helps us a lot, to do that. And we, as a designer, we don't just come at the end of the process and just put the design or the shape of it, not at all. So what we did, we started a long process with the company in order to study with the engineers, the chemical people inside the brand, and engineers, in order to develop a mold of the chair that was supporting, this priority for us. So to produce a super light and durable chair for this amazing company. So the technology evolved, time to time, and also in the process that we were developing the product itself. And at the end, we come up with this object, which is the Puma chair. Is really light, as Joe Ponti, we got inspired, from the same principle. So to have a really super light chair that can be moved everywhere and can be placed everywhere, but at the same time durable, because this chair is made out of plastic. So if you're gonna sit on it, you don't wanna fall on the ground. So the technology helps us a lot, to engineer the structure, molecular structure of the plastic in order to make it happen. Super thin, super light, and super durable. So being a creative mind is also bring the creativity at the service also of the engineer and the technology. Those are some other prototypes. So this is the approach we have. So we start designing, we start from an idea, from a concept, then we work with engineer, we develop, we study the materials, we tested with some prototypes, and then we built the 3D models, and then we produce some maquette of the chair. We adjust the details, the curve, the angles, any measure. As I said before, this is invisible details, but it make the product so simple, as you see, but really complex, so the complexity of simplicity always is a topic that we discuss with Piero, no? Because to achieve such a simpleness, behind there is so much work, and very complex work. This for another attention on the chair, and then at the end we come up with the product, which is this one, which is the finished product. that we have in several colors. This one is another table that another object, also always for the same brand, which we love very much. This one is something that we found very interesting, especially last year, when we were all being forced to stay home and to leave our apartment, and our here in New York, our kind of cookie jars, really small. So we need to optimize the function. Actually, this product came out before the craziness that hit the world, in the latest 2 years. But I think it was really appropriate, for last year, because it's a table with a plug, and you can plug in, and you can eat, you can work on it, and you can cook on it. So it has an induction hob into the thickness of the tabletop. So you can also put your kettle on top. You can cook you can heat your water. You can have a tea. You can cook your pasta. And in the meantime, you can work. So I think this is a perfect prototype, for the smart working living that we all went through. Then we have another example, which is this lounge here, which is the edamame, designed for another brand, which is B&B. And the shape, as you see, Piero personally, when we do that, we do those projects, we mold, the prototypes, we sketch on big pages. This is super interesting. And if you are interested in furniture design, the behind the scene and what you can see in the production site, of all those brands is unbelievable, because the final product is really the cherry on the cake, but it's the cake itself, that is amazing, to be discovered. So work is a teamwork, working with the engineer, work with the upholsterer guy, with the mill worker, with the manufacturer, and you learn so much. So we always come up with some ideas, and with this shape, we wanted a chair that it wasn't a chair. We want a lounge chair that it wasn't a couch. It wasn't a sofa. So it was really many things together and none of them, at the end, but it became one of the most iconic piece of this brand. The name edamame is because originally Piero wanted to name this chair fagiolo, but fagiolo in Italian, which is bean, it was hard to spread it around the world, as an easy name to remember. And so we shifted into edamame. That edamame, everybody knows what edamame means. And now this is the final product here. As you see, is a really a sculptural, one of a kind product that you can adapt everywhere into any interiors. Art and design, because being a designer, as I said before, implies many aspects of it. And so the art is for sure a source of inspiration for anything we do every day. We're always influenced by art in any form. It can be visual, can be a painting, can be picture, can be anything. Music, any source of art is the main inspiration at Lissoni Partners. And this, for instance, is a collection of objects, that are table of element, we call it, and is for this brand that produce laminate, so the the wood veneer, actually, the wood veneer. So, but the wood veneer, if you say like that, okay, wood veneer, everybody, now is, figure it out, okay, the wood veneer. But the wood veneer is such an interesting material if we look from another angle, another perspective. So it can definitely be original, as a product. Here, we were announcing the technology behind designing a wood veneer. So here, those shapes and those shades of those colors, are solid piece of wood veneer, because when they built, they put layers and layers and layers all together, and then they sliced. But it depends. If you slice horizontally, you get the wood veneer that everybody are thinking now. But if you slice in a different angles, you can come up with other ideas, with other patterns. And when we tried that, we discovered an infinity of possibilities. So it's always the topic I was mentioning before. If you see something as you know it right now by icons or for granted, let's say, but if you look from another angle and if you get inspired for that, you can develop definitely original solution and new ideas. Those are other projects, another product. Now, this is another case study. So creativity 360 degrees. Sorority is a company who produce yacht, high luxurious yacht, and we work with them a lot. Piero is the creative director of San Lorenzo, and so the firm, designed yacht, the interiors of the yacht, treating them like floating homes. So with all the challenge of designing a yacht. So designing a yacht is a creature that it twist, turn, move. So also you need to consider, yes, the shape, but also the functionality and how to make the two components work together. Here, as you can see, there are other examples with those curved lines. We open up all the boats. I don't want to get into the topic specifically, but I just want to show you those are source of inspiration, especially the staircases. As I said, if the boat is shifting and twirling and towards, we need to work a lot in order to achieve a design like that with tons of studies and tons of tests, and it's a collective effort, with the people that are going to build that, and the expertise on the board design, and our team at the office who is dedicated to yacht design. As I said, beside the boat, we designed their factory, so their Navy Yard, and then also other places like events and their brand identity, because the Lissoni approach is an holistic approach, as Beth mentioned before, and also Piero in his video. Is an holistic approach because we combine together different disciplines. So we are basically architect, but also interior designer, but also product designer, but also graphic designer, landscape designer. So all together. So we can definitely, we always combine together the different disciplines to provide our clients with a full project, with the same view throughout any disciplines. For instance, those are some examples from our graphic department. So the invitation, as you see, invitation, when you say, okay, I need to have an invitation, beside the graphic itself, we always try to go beyond the boundaries, to think out of the box. And this one, for instance, is made out of plastic. I cut out, the shape of the boat, with the text. So it's something that is unexpected. Also, when the client will receive, and when the guest will receive the invitation. Those are other example of graphics, as I said. For instance, why don't we put, the invitation on top of a soap? Because if the topic is the bathroom, or presented a new collection of bathroom. And this is what we did, for instance, for Buffy, which is another company that we work a lot with. So being curious, I think we talk about a lot. Being yourself is the other ingredient, in the soup. That is, listen to your soul. This is what I would like to share with you. So listen to you, look at you, what you really believe in, because that made you original, when you propose, your ideas. So being very honest with yourself, and without any not be shy, let's say, be brave, always, and try to listen to you no matter what, no matter who, because that is the only way that you can really be original. Those are projects, and again, it's not just to show the project, but showing you the process behind it. So every environment suggests us inputs and influences, a lot our design. So we start always sketching the idea we have, and then put it together with digital, and then we build a maquette and prototypes, always to bring, as you see, a little bit of soul into the project, So we always put ourselves and immerse ourselves into the design we are doing, and think, okay, what I'm gonna see, what I'm gonna feel, what I'm gonna hear, because again, being an holistic design, means that involve all the senses, when we design our projects, and come up with the final results. Those are the projects, in other area around the world, from New York, we cover all the Americas. So the project we have starting from Vancouver down to Argentina and everything in between. And instead, from Milan, we cover the rest of the world with projects spread all over. This one is an example also, and we're almost at the end of the presentation, so then we can have a chat with you all, but that was really interesting. So we had to produce all these projects, mainly in China, and produce everything in China, so we couldn't import. So what we did, we toured China, we explored, we discovered lots of producers and lots of meal workers, and many, many interesting and amazing source of creativity, but beside that, craftsmanship. So what we did, we worked together hand to hand. It was an Italian-Chinese experiment to work together, and we really tailor-made the project, for our client there. So learning from the people there, learning from the people that I'm showing you here, the picture. And it was an unbelievable experience, really incredible. And this is the behind the scene, because this is the final result, but before that, we have to pass through all those passages which made our profession really the special that is. So our projects. This is a project in Beijing. And here, as you see, we detail everything. We look at all the details for every single element with inspiration. And then we prototype, we built them, as prototypes. Those are other projects. This is in Italy. The scale of the project doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter. As I said, it could be the wood veneer, or it can be a 4,000 room hotel. So, and this one, for instance, is a cute small hotel on Lake Orta in Italy, which has only few rooms, less, maybe 10 rooms, I would say. And it was like that. So we took the building and we worked with the building. We want to keep the building as much as we could in order to declare, where we are and the history and the soul of it. But at the same time, we brought, some new approach, on how to enhance the view and the special and the magic place that is the lake in front of the hotel, enhancing all the characters. So respecting the soul of the place with this tone, and then the other lights that surrounds the building, because over there is kind of cloudy most of the time, but when sun hits, it changes completely the feeling of the space. This is completely another environment. We were in the desert. I remember I was there in 2006 when we started, and it was nothing, just sand. And after the sand, now we have the city. So we build everything. We design everything for it: the architecture, interior, product, the lighting design. And it was a really interesting opportunity to stay focused. Focus is the third ingredient, and then we finish the soup and we put it on the cook top, and let's make it cook for a while. Being focused to me is stay on top of your passion, in anything you do, and no matter what the people say, no matter what the trend, even if you don't like this word trend, and be yourself. Be focused means that you are dictating the trend. If you believe in what you studied and what you see around and what you have put it in your soup, I think you can definitely provide and you can share the good taste of it, with all the people that you're gonna meet in your career. This one is the last project I want to show you, which is what's next. To me, it sounds like what's next. Next is the future, always seeing something a different perspective. This one is the project for the skylines. We call is a project for a skyscraper here in New York, which is a kind of self sustainable city with those gardens, the suspended gardens. Each altitude change. It has a lots of function in it, and it can live alone. In the middle of the jungle of steel, canyon of steel, as some songs say about New York, and providing and respecting anyway the environment. So there is lots of technology and lots of creativity around all this project. I think, as the slide said, that's all for my presentation, and I think we can go back to video, and I can answer to all your questions. And I want to show you one thing that I think is maybe the essence of everything that pair very well with the soup, which is this one. So this is a slice of bread, toast bread. So everyone, when you see this one, this is a bread, it's brown, it's white. But what do you see? If this slice of bread you're gonna paint into blue, or maybe another color, or maybe you cut out a piece of it, so it's not even the same slice of bread that we know, and it will be an original slice of bread. So I would like to leave you with this message, to see things in a different shape all the time, and you're gonna be original for sure.
That's great. Stefano, thank you so much for those insights and walking us through the beautiful, beautiful projects that the firm is producing. We're going to turn over to audience Q&A now. Students, as a reminder, you can find that Q&A button either at the top or bottom of your screen. So definitely feel free to send your questions in for Stefano. First question we have is, where do you find inspiration for projects?
Sorry, where?
Where do you find inspiration for projects?
Everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. It can be on the street, as I said. My iPhone is exploding. I don't have to do advertising. But I have, I don't know, 50,000 picture in it. I keep taking picture of everything. It can be drawing on a wall, or a shop window. Anything. Really everywhere. I find inspiration from anything that surrounds me. If I travel, maybe I'm up in the air, from the clouds, or maybe when I land at the airport, and I'm lucky because I live in a city that is really one and only, every day is a source of creativity, and inspiration. The commute from my place to the office, I reach the desk, that I'm completely full of energy and inputs for sure. So everywhere, anything can be a source of inspiration.
That's great. How much do you look at media or social media for inspiration? The student is wondering if too much time on Instagram affects young designers' originality. What do you think?
Well, but it's also something that we can't skip. We live in a digital era, so it's definitely the easier source of reference, here behind here, as you see here, we have books that I love it, and Piero loves, this is the first thing that Piero said, buy a bookshelf, and put all the books over there. And we love it, because time to time, and I see also the team when it comes here during lunchtime, maybe they grab a book, they open a book and look at that. For sure is the source I like the most, books, magazines. At the same time, digital, yes, is really important. I'm personally look at the digital platforms, I love one of them in particular, which is mainly pictures, because I like to get inspired from them, but also with an eye that you look at the picture, not to copy and paste. Okay, this one is that one. No, I studied architecture in Milano, and in Milano, maybe even overthink about it, this topic, never to copy, never copy, never copy, never copy, And so all our professors, always say, get inspired by that. Try to understand the reason why, and the collocation, the situation and the moment, a specific moment. If we look at something that Castiglione designed, it was a specific era for my country and come up with bright ideas, but we can't take that idea and put it now, because now the word is completely different, so it's not copy and paste. It's just to really understand. So the same message could be for the digital platforms. So you can definitely get inspired and then digest it. Maybe you can combine picture together. Maybe you can get from one platform, another one from another, put it together, compare, maybe cut it, change it, crop it. This is something that you can definitely do.
It's a great point. How big is the company, and do you have designers in New York and Italy working together?
Okay, yes. Altogether, the Lissoni group, we are 100 people, spread it into offices. We have the Milano, which is the biggest one, and then the New York, which is the little guy, of the company, is the youngest, And yes, we work together. We have technology help a lot, in order to do that. Piero is mainly in Milano nowadays because of the situation, but otherwise, he's here every 2 months, I would say. And but technology allows us, and as he taught to everybody, that we can be here, there, everywhere, doesn't matter. And so yes, this, let's say, is a positive takeover from the difficult situation we went through, that we can definitely, we are definitely more connected now than before. So yes, we work together. The team is maybe 27 countries, so absolutely multicultural, how do you say, yeah, from all over the world, yes, multicultural, and this I think is the strength of the company, because inputs from everywhere, are being placed in the same pot, and we really cook a fantastic, soup every day, putting all the inputs. We definitely share a lot, together. Every project is an opportunity to put ideas, how we work. We start all together. And then, of course, you have the project managers that follow the project, from the second step on. But at the beginning, we really want all the inputs as possible. It's also important for each one of us, to build and to keep our being original approach, alive.
That's great. Thank you for explaining that. As a cross-disciplinary firm, do each of the designers work across those different design fields, or the product designers are focused just on product, interiors just on interior?
So this is one of the key points, because when you start to work at Lissoni, you must be able to do many things, any things in the sense of design, So you must be able to skip from one scale to another scale, our is an humanistic approach. Piero always remarked this point, every lesson, every lecture that Piero does, and we definitely grew up, with that belief, So we design from the from the inside versus the outside, sometimes vice versa. And then we design the object, because a chair, it should be a chair where you can sit on top of it. Well, but where are you going to put the chair? You're going to put the chair into a room. And how is going to be the room? Because the room, the quality of the light, the space, the shape, the feeling, the finishes will influence also the feeling of the chair. And okay, when is going to be the room into the box? So definitely we cross over, we move all around. It's very horizontal in our office, in our firm. So we all work together on different projects. And being a designer, when I started 20 years ago to work with Piero, the first thing I designed a bathroom. It was fantastic, but to me it was like designing the Plaza Hotel, because it was so meticulous. And I discovered, how many possibilities you have to express, an idea also in a tiny space like that. But that one was part of a bigger project, and then I learned, the first book I bought is how to design furniture, because how the furniture are made of, So, because again, the shape is something, but then you need to think about, who's going to sit on it, who's going to work on it. So I think, yes, we are definitely crossover and between the disciplines. We can't, we don't work per segments or per compartment, not at all.
That's great. Thank you. We have one student that's written in, I'm joining as a writer, and I loved hearing about your holistic approach to design. What role do words and writing have in your work?
What? I didn't get, sorry, the question very well. So can you rephrase that a little?
Yeah, how do words or writing impact the work that Lissoni New York is putting out?
Oh, yes. Maybe like narrative or something like that, maybe into the projects, something like, maybe, no.
Maybe if that's the way that you're interpreting.
So, words impact a lot, because always when we present the projects, to our clients, we have to always imagine that the message that we want to convey to our clients should be one, and specific one, and is the one that we want to that must land in his mind, and in his perception. So to do that, we have to use word very carefully, because each word can change the meaning of everything else. And also, especially nowadays with digital for sure, but with the clients, not just one person, it will be 10, 15, 20 people, that see our work, from one end to the other. So we must make sure that, everyone is getting the same message. So for sure, we added the words, the keywords into the project. And sometimes we do in two languages. So in the native language of the country we're working on, for instance, we have project in Brazil or in China or in Japan or everywhere. So we use that items, and then we add also English in order to be kind of international. So anyone can definitely understand the same message that we send. My words, my vocabulary is not infinitive, as you could, as you understood, from my talk today. But I ask, actually, this is not my fault, because 6 years ago when I moved here, I asked, our PR and say, should I, do something? Should I learn English? Should I practice more? I said, no, 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 no. You should sound original, and here I am. Also with my words.
Great. With such great dedication to creativity, what is your recipe to balance between your work and other aspects of your life?
Look at my face. I mean, we work a lot for sure, and but as I said at the beginning, you are in the world of creativity. I mean, what is here inside never stop, never, ever. So I choose the wrong profession. If you want to have a personal life, very relaxed, very organized, impossible. So I always start every month saying, okay, this month I'm gonna do workout 3 times a week, blah, blah, blah. Okay, impossible, because then I work until late and then it's kind of hard, to balance, the private life, with the profession more than the project. It's not just this firm, because I think it's everywhere. It's just a matter of that, the job we do is a never stop, you can't stop. You can't stop, but it's driven by passion. So passion is a good energy,
Absolutely. Speaking of never being able to stop, do you ever dream about design and sketch it out?
I sketch a lot, I live with this. I'll show you. I have tons of books, with me, and I have it all in my bookshelf, at home, and some here at the office. And I keep sketching, but I'm sketching also to take notes of what I have to do. This since when I was a child elementary, because I love to draw a lot, So, and instead of writing, I put icons, or maybe I draw it, and this one, for instance, was sketches, to explain to my team, what I was thinking about, and to transfer information. Meanwhile, I was getting inputs from the client, instead of taking notes, I was sketching. So I sketch all the time. That is really my passion. I really like it. It's also that maybe is a kind of meditation or relaxation moment. I sketch a lot. I love to fly. Thanks God, they invented the airplane, because nobody called me on the plane. So I have a moment where I sketch a lot. I put all my ideas in the right order. I have time for myself, and sketch, do all the things. Yeah, this is very important.
That's great. How important is it to work in a holistic approach? How a project grows when you have a community, how a project grows when you have the opportunity to manage from architecture to communication materials like graphic design.
It's crucial, as I said, because especially nowadays, the world is changing super fast, continuously, it's never the same. Look, what is now is different from what it was before. Okay, this was a craziness that let's hope is just one and only, but the process was already started before, maybe already in 2019, let's say, before that. And is a continuous evolution, being part of the community and being a designer is also something that implies a responsibility of what you do, especially when you do architecture. Architecture stays there minimum 10 years, so minimum, maybe more, and so you must be very conscious, and responsible of what you do. So the holistic approach, implies that we are not just designing the box and that's it. No, we design the box, but the box, call it the box, okay, but the box with the surroundings around, the environment around, the sustainability approach also, maybe the adaptive reuse sometimes, because maybe we don't need another building, maybe we can use what we have, and I think that's the future, to reuse, more than building brand new things. And in that, we are very good in Italy, because we can demolish anything. Everything is protected. We were designing an hotel, and there were digging down and I discover a Roman city. So now the project is a mess. So, so we're very good, you know, in adapt ourselves in reuse things, you know. And so yes, I think the holistic approach allows us also to put a lot into the project of what is going to be the feeling, you know, what is going to look like, what is going to be the impact of our design into the people that are going to live into the approach under the same vision, because yes, the message is kind of crystal clear and go through any layer of the project.
Great. As an architect, do you personally work in multiple kinds of projects, or you're more focused on architecture and interior?
No, we all work, as I said before, we work on more or less everything. What I do, I work in the first step of the project a lot, you know, in order to, let's say, team together with my team, you know, here in order to work together and to like, I don't know, I don't remember the name, you know, the boat that pull the ship out of the port, you know, I'm that guy. I'm that one. I'm the guy. I'm that guy. And so we work together, but then I definitely want to see the ship go, you know. This is my approach, you know. So if I'm here, it's because someone before me did the same with me. First of all, Piero, you know, because Piero said, okay, now you go, ciao, go. And this is what I do with my people here. I want them grow, you know, is I'm the oldest in the office. So I want them, you know, to grow, you know, to get, you know, into the profession, you know, and learn time to time. So I guide them a little bit and then ciao. But I always try to look, you know, what is the process, you know, and answer any questions, you know, and transfer, you know, it's just transfer the skills and the knowledge from what I learned and transfer and now pass to another one. So this is the exercise I like to do the most, yes.
It's a great approach. How do you create something original when having to adhere to certain codes or standards?
Well, as I said, you know, we never look at trends. You know, trend is a kind of forbidden word in our office. We try to build our own trends. And this, I don't know how it happens, you know, but it's a kind of silent, you know, or inexplicable, you know, approach, you know, that or magic that happen. But I think that is really the result of keep our eyes wide open and ear wide open and try to understand. We read personally, I read the newspaper, I read the politics, I read the economics, art, anything, you know. And I think that when you put all those inputs inside, you know, then you are there. So you see, you can understand, you know, what is the, you know, the vision for the next future, you know, and because you are curious, as I said before, be curious, you know, you must be curious on that. And so you learn, you understand what is even, you know, your passion. And at the office, definitely we have some references, as I said before. We love the Japanese style, we love the Scandinavian, we love, yes, the Italian style sometimes, the Brazilian, the United States, the shakers. So we have so many inputs. But if you take individually, it's something. One you put together, you know, as a kind of combination. Then being original is again this one. So be yourself, you know, and be influenced by those inputs and try to reinterpret it into a new way. This is what we do. Sometimes we also look at our projects, you know, we have an archive full of things that we never built, tons of sketches and drawings. And sometimes we go back. We started recently in the latest years to go back and look what we designed maybe 10 years ago, 5 years ago. It's fantastic, which is the same effect that does all my books. So if I go back and look at a book I did maybe 15 years ago, wow, you know, I found so many ideas over there. So it's really interesting.
Absolutely. Often a client can be more conservative than a creative designer. Are there any particular challenges you've faced in working with clients and pitching ideas? And if so, how were those resolved?
Well, the good project is a result also for the relation between a good client and us, you know, so that is crucial. So if we don't have a good client, you know, or a client that listen to us, you know, and we listen to them, you know, I mean, there's no point, so we definitely need to have good clients in order to achieve the project I showed you before, But again, as I said before, we need to guide them, to bring them into the club, So just what we do every time we start with the sharing the design alphabet we call, So we built an alphabet, which is a common ground, in order to understand each other, what are his beliefs and what we like, what we think it could be the process. And then we really get to the point where we are connected. So it's like a relation, so you know each other, and then when you are connected, so then you can go to the next step. And the same is with our clients. Sometimes it's not easy because maybe some clients, they have their own vision, but it's always a matter of talking about, and just discuss, let's open a conversation. As you saw, I love to talk, so we talk a lot. And we try to find the good balance, because an happy client is an happy designer and we're all happy. So we don't want to at the end, we are designing for our clients, So we want really to work together and to find sometimes compromises, of course, because maybe it's for budget issues or I don't know, but it's not always easy, but it's interesting, I would say. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Nowadays, the clients are also much more prepared, I would say, in the design field. So design, if I see 10 years ago, maybe was different, for certain projects specifically, maybe not private homes, but maybe big buildings, before it was more, okay, building. So, and the designer was leading, the role and that's it. Now, all those clients, because they built a lot, they have also a big, voice into the game in terms of design, because they experience a lot, they learn a lot from design. Design now is so diffused that that you must be always very prepared, and open to an open discussion about design.
That's great. How important is it to do a model of the project?
Yeah, in Milano, if you can visit our office in Milano, I don't know where the people are listening to us are coming from, but if you ever had the chance to stop by Milano, in Milano we have a workshop, so we have a model room, which is fantastic. It's the best room of our office, because it's full of all the maquettes, all the samples. There are 3 guys, the luckiest guys, despite they work till late, because the model takes lots of time. But it's really where the magic happens, I have to say. Normally we start with a model, also for the architecture, for the products, for some components, we always start from there. And from there, we move into then drawings, or we use multiple techniques, to express the design, maybe collage, maybe maquette, very quick. So as much as the sketches, also the models are really useful, to express an idea. And the idea maybe is modifying, as much as you work on the model, because the model, maybe you have in your mind one thing, you build it, and then in the meantime you're building, oh, but why don't we do this and that? So it's really important. And the office in Milan, which is host open houses, yes, open days, let's say, maybe 2-3 times a year. And I invite you all to stop by. It's really beautiful. It's really interesting. Also here in New York, if you stop by here, I have models spread all around the office, because it's part of our philosophy also. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we are just about out of time for today. Students, I apologize if we didn't get to your question. There were so many good ones that were submitted. But last question that we do have is any advice or words of wisdom for the students or new designers entering the workforce?
Be brave, travel a lot now that you can, because hopefully we can, but you can also go around, get out the building and go around. This is the advice I always give to any students, through the year. I talk to some schools, is to try something, experience, travel the world, visit the world, because if you stay within your space, it's something, but I think if you have the opportunity and the possibility to do that, travel, go and visit the world. The world is such a crazy place, and interesting, and everything, food, people, colors, I travel a lot in my life, and I think the 80% of the inspiration I have in my mind, comes from all the trips I did, and the people I met around the world. This is really my big advice.
Absolutely. Great advice. Well, students, thank you so much for joining us today. If you want to learn more about Lissoni, you can visit lissoniandpartners.com. If you want to learn more about Be Original Americas, you can visit beoriginalamerica's.com. Stefano, a huge thank you. This has been an incredible presentation. Grazie.
Good luck.
Ciao.
Prego. Arrivederci.